Hello, Dr. Guantua.
Hi, Fatma. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
I'm doing good. Have a seat.
Thank you. Well, I'm back for our next talk about how to have a healthy pregnancy. And I remember we were going to talk about ways to protect mothers from infectious diseases, right?
Yes, Fatma, you have a good memory.
Thank you.
If you remember, we previously talked about the importance of frequent hand washing with safe running water and soap, and how to make water safe by boiling, filtering with a special filter,
Yes.
or using chemicals such as chlorine or the solar disinfection technique, where bottles of water are just placed in the sun to make the water safe.
Yeah, correct. I was interested to learn that how can you make water safe, and this is what I learned. I can do it by putting it in a clear bottle in the sun for 4 hours, and it even works on cloudy days if the bottle with waters are left outside for 2 days.
Correct.
But I think the best approach for me, well, the special filters, how they work.
Yeah.
It costs some money to buy, but it is easy to use and will save me from having to buy firewood and boiling and all that trouble. Filtered water also doesn't have that smoky smell, you know.
You're right, Fatma, and I'm glad you found something that works for you. But what else did you learn besides how safe water and hand washing can prevent many diseases?
Well, I learned that I need to eat an additional meal and snack daily and put foods rich in iron so I don't have to develop anemia. I remember you said I should eat more meats, especially red meat, green leafy vegetables, beans, and of course nuts.
Yeah.
I can get all these items in my local market, which is very helpful. And I should use iodized salt, right?
That's right.
Okay. I will not smoke, drink alcohol, or use drugs, and I will take my iron folate supplements daily.
Good job, Fatma.
Okay. I have those pills now that you gave me, and I've been taking them, to be honest. And my husband and I have both been tested for HIV, and we have been preparing for our baby by setting up transportation to the health facilities so we can make the quick trip if needed. And we will also use contraceptives in the future, so we can wait at least 2 years, if not more, before having another child, and if we decide to have another one. That way, I will be fully recovered from the delivery. Whew, we talked about a lot.
I know we did. I'm glad you can remember most of it. And what was one of the most important things that we discussed?
I know. At least 4 antenatal care visits with my skilled birth attendant, the ANC visits, right? And delivering my baby in the health facilities are some of the most important things I can do to have a healthy baby. And I hope I'm not doing the right things. I am?
Yes, you are, Fatma.
Okay.
It sounds like you are doing the right things. And this is a reason the ANC visits are so valuable. You can ask questions and get reliable answers and guidance. There's a lot of misinformation when it comes to pregnancy and babies. Everyone seems to have an opinion.
Yeah, true. And I've already had plenty of stories and superstitions. It is very reassuring to see you, Dr. Guantua, and I'm glad I came to this ANC visits. They really helped.
You are welcome, Fatma. I'm glad you are taking serious care of yourself.
Oh, thank you.
But it is also very important to plan to deliver your baby in a healthcare facility.
Okay, not at
It
all.
is much safer than home delivery for you and your child.
Okay.
And you will be taught about ways to care for your child.
True.
They will also watch over you for any complications that develop, such as bleeding of fever and take care of these problems.
Okay.
Now, let's talk about how to prevent infectious diseases in the pregnant woman so she and her baby are healthier.
Okay.
I want to point out that when I talk about a healthy baby, I don't just mean for the first few days after birth.
Okay.
Illness or injury before or during birth can affect the baby for the rest of its life. So, for example, anemia and alcohol used by the mother during pregnancy can have lifelong effects on the child's brain.
Oh.
We all know that pregnancy and delivery are vulnerable times in the lives of both the mother and their fetuses.
True.
And serious diseases and deaths are much more likely than at other times of life.
I understand.
That is why we are focusing on things you can do to prevent illness and even death.
I understand now. Okay.
Well, let's get started on preventing infectious diseases.
Okay.
Actually, we have already talked about two of the best ways to prevent infectious diseases from spreading.
We have?
Yes. Hand washing with safe running water
Yes.
and using safe water for cooking, drinking, washing food, and washing dishware are very effective at helping to prevent the spread of infectious diseases.
True. You say that many infectious diseases such as pneumonia, TB, and upper respiratory infections spread by coughing, sneezing, and touching things contaminated by cough or a sneeze, particularly with our hands, right? Okay. And another thing that's stuck in my memory is that most intestinal infections spread by bacteria and parasites are spread through contaminated feces, getting in the water we drink, or on our hands, or in the food we eat. Well,
That's right.
okay. I guess we don't see the bacteria and parasites' eggs, but they are there, right? Okay, I don't want to ever drink unsafe water again. That's, oh, it's scary.
You're very right, Fatma. The parasite eggs are very small, and so are the viruses and bacteria. But they do often come from the feces of an infected person. Another cause of intestinal parasites is from eating meat that is raw or undercooked. So always cook your meat well.
Okay. So the saliva or water droplets in the cough can have infectious microbes that can be in human feces and that contaminate our hands and water or food. Okay, I see why hand washing is very important with safe water and soap. And washing food with a safe water helps to prevent diseases. Are there other ways that diseases can spread other than what you just told me?
Yes, there are, Fatma. You are very familiar with one of the other ways. Ever heard of malaria?
Oh, yes. Malaria is caused by a parasite and has something to do with a mosquito, right? A mosquito.
Yes.
My brother died of malaria.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Fatma. Malaria is a major killer in areas where a particular type of mosquito lives that can carry malaria. So the process starts when the mosquito first bites a person infected with malaria. Then the parasite grows inside that mosquito. When that mosquito bites another person who is healthy, the parasite goes into the body and causes malaria. You know all too well about the fever, chills, headache, backache, and abdominal pain symptoms that are common with malaria.
Yes.
It is diagnosed with a blood test and treated with medicine.
Oh, okay.
Malaria is a great danger to pregnant women, their fetuses, and young babies because their bodies cannot resist this disease as well as people at other stages of life.
Okay.
And more than 3/4 of all malaria deaths are in children under 5 years of age.
Oh, are you serious? I know mosquito nets help prevent us from getting bitten by malaria and the mosquitoes. But, oh, okay.
Prevention is the word.
Yes.
And I love that
Prevention
word.
is better than cure.
Correct, Fatma. It is so much better to prevent malaria than to get sick, get a blood test and treatment, or worse. Preventing ourselves from being bitten is an excellent way of preventing malaria. The type of mosquito that spreads malaria bites only when it is dark. So mosquito nets that have been treated with a long-lasting insecticides are very effective at protecting us while we sleep.
Okay.
Do not believe superstitions about these treated nets. They are completely safe to use.
Okay.
They also kill any mosquito that lands on them. Your whole family should use the long-lasting insecticide-treated nets.
Okay.
These nets are also called LLIN for short. And it will be good if you encourage your neighbors and friends to use the nets also.
Okay.
Remember that these nets kill mosquitoes that spread malaria, and if enough people use them in a community, malaria can be greatly reduced or even eliminated.
Okay.
Another thing you can do is wear clothing that covers as much of your skin as possible during the evening, since this mosquito bites at night.
And what else can we do?
Mosquitoes must have standing water in which to lay their eggs. It doesn't take much standing water, and it takes as little as a week for eggs to develop into adult mosquitoes. However, if we work to drain areas of standing water, empty containers in your yard and turn them over, and fill in mud puddles with soil, we can reduce the number of mosquitoes around us.
Okay.
This is another form of prevention for malaria.
Oh, that is a task that I think my son would enjoy doing. Of course, I will have to explain it to him and show him how to do it the right way, and that will help keep our family healthy and safe.
I'm sure he will have fun doing it. But because malaria is such a threat to pregnant women, your nurse or doctor may give malaria treatment medication during pregnancy,
Okay.
especially in areas where there are many people with malaria. Preventative treatment is one of the things that is considered during the antenatal care visits by a pregnant woman. This is also called intermittent preventative treatment during pregnancy, or IPTP for short.
Okay.
So pregnant women generally receive 2 or more treatments for malaria during their pregnancy as a precaution.
So always use the LLIN while sleeping, and as well wear clothing that covers skin in the evening. And then you said drain standing water around our homes.
That's
and taking preventive treatment for malaria if there is a lot of malaria in the area where I live. I've had some people spray insecticides in their homes. How is that?
Well, that's true. There are insecticide sprays that kill mosquitoes and can be sprayed in a room in the evening. There are also sprays that can be used on the walls of the home, and these are also effective for even weeks.
Okay.
But be cautious with this, because sprays themselves have some health threats that you need to be aware of.
Okay. And are there any other infectious diseases that are spread by insect bites?
Yes, many diseases are spread by insects. For example, some eye infection can be spread by flies that land on an infected person's eye area, then go to a healthy person's eye. And other examples will be like dengue and yellow fever that are spread by a different type of mosquito than the malaria mosquito. And the mosquito that carries dengue and yellow fever bites more commonly during the day. But there are other ways infections can gain access to our bodies besides through our mouth, eyes, and nose, or by insect bites.
Okay.
Another way diseases can be spread is through the genital by sexual intercourse. I'm sure you know of one.
I do. It is HIV/AIDS, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Several serious diseases are spread by sexual intercourse, including syphilis, gonorrhea, HIV/AIDS, and others.
Okay.
Together, we call these diseases sexually transmitted infections, or STIs for short. I mentioned how the skin keeps the microbes that cause most diseases from gaining entry into the body. But the eyes, nose, and mouth do not have the skin like the rest of the body. So microbes can get into the body more easily through these areas. The tissues in the genital area is also delicate. So the microbes that cause sexually transmitted infection can pass through this tissue and cause disease.
I never thought about how microbes get into our body. So some microbes get in one way and other microbes get in the other way, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. What does HIV means anyway?
Good question.
Okay.
HIV means human immunodeficiency virus.
Okay.
It is a viral infection that weakens the protective mechanisms of the body and has killed millions of people around the world. Many people have no symptoms at first from this illness.
Okay.
And the only way to know a person has it is with a blood test. Later, when symptoms develop, it is called AIDS to differentiate it from the infection without symptoms.
Okay.
The most common form of spread is by having unprotected sexual intercourse with a person who is infected. They do not need to have any symptoms to transmit the disease to you.
And how can I protect myself from HIV or AIDS?
The best way is to not having unprotected sexual intercourse.
Okay.
If you don't have sexual intercourse, you are safe.
Okay.
If you do have sexual intercourse, you should have protected sexual intercourse. This means you use a male or female condom every time you have sex, and you use a new condom each time.
Okay.
I want to point out something here. The male or female condom is also a method of birth control, and it protects against HIV/AIDS. Other forms of contraception or birth control, such as a pill, the IUD, and implants, prevent pregnancy, but they do not protect against HIV. Am I clear about this, Fatma?
Yes. And you said that condom is the only birth control that also protects against HIV.
You have got it, Fatma.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay.
There are now very effective treatments for HIV/AIDS that enable people to live long, productive lives.
Okay.
But the treatment is most effective the earlier it is started.
Okay.
This is why testing for HIV is so important. Both you and your partner should be tested for HIV at the first antenatal care visit.
Okay.
And you said you did that already, right?
Yes, I did. Yes.
You should also be tested if you think there is even a chance you have had exposure to the disease at any time in your life.
Okay.
Keep in mind that you may be having sexual intercourse with only one partner, but if that partner has sexual intercourse with someone else and becomes HIV positive, you may also get HIV. HIV positive is the term we use when someone is infected with the virus that causes HIV/AIDS.
Oh, so if I'm HIV positive, this could affect my pregnancy? Could it?
Yes.
Okay, this is why I got tested for HIV when I found out I'm pregnant.
You're very right, Fatma.
Okay.
Not only could it make you very sick during your pregnancy and lower your chance of survival, your fetus can become infected during pregnancy or during the birth process.
Okay.
The virus that causes HIV/AIDS can also be transferred to your baby through your breast milk if you're infected.
Okay.
However, and this is a big however,
Okay.
infection of your fetus and baby can be prevented
Okay.
by treating you and your baby, both during pregnancy and after delivery.
Okay.
Treatment can even make it possible for some women to breastfeed their baby if they have no other options for giving the baby breast milk. And an HIV positive woman should deliver her baby at a health facility, so the special medication and other safety procedures can be used to prevent her baby from becoming HIV positive.
Okay.
This newborn will receive medication to protect it from HIV and be tested for HIV 4 to 6 weeks after birth to make sure it is not infected. This is a good thing.
Okay. So if I were HIV positive, the skilled birth attendant at the healthcare center could help me through these important steps so my child would not become infected with HIV. Okay, that is a good thing then.
It is very good.
Okay.
And pregnant women who are HIV positive should also be tested for TB and treated for TB if they have it, since TB occurs so often in people with HIV/AIDS.
Okay.
Remember that HIV reduces the body's ability to protect itself, so it is more vulnerable to other diseases like TB. Let me see.
Okay.
What else do I want to tell you? Yes, we were talking about how the skin protects us from many microbes that might infect us.
Yes.
There are a few situations, however, where the microbe can go right through your skin, and I want you to know about this.
Okay.
You remember how I told you that most microbes that cause diarrhea and intestinal parasites such as worms get in through our mouths on the food we eat or with contaminated water?
Yes, I remember that.
Well, there is one type of worm which is called hookworm
Okay.
that can go through our skin during a stage of its life when it is very, very small.
Okay.
It mainly gets into our bodies through the skin of our feet.
Our feet? Why just our feet?
This parasite comes from the feces of infected people.
Oh.
So when infected feces are on the ground we walk on, instead of safely in the bottom of a latrine, the parasites are also on the ground and can burrow through the soles of our feet into our bodies.
Okay.
They eventually go to the intestines where their hooks on the mouth part grab the wall of the intestines.
Okay.
These hooks cause some bleeding into our feces, and we can even develop anemia if we have many of these hookworms in our intestines. Anemia is when our body does not have enough blood cells or iron in the blood. This sounds bad, doesn't it?
It makes my stomach turn. It is. It's a little hard to think about.
I understand, Fatma. Eggs from other types of intestinal worms can be spread by the feces of infected people.
Okay.
Roundworms, for example, are spread when someone doesn't use a latrine and the eggs from the infected feces get in the soil.
Okay.
The soil with the parasite's eggs can get on our hands and into our mouth, where they can start an infection in our own intestines if we don't wash our hands.
This explains a lot.
It does. The information does help you understand what is happening and why, though.
Okay.
So now you fully understand why people should defecate in latrines where the feces are safely confined.
I do.
And do not defecate on the ground and deposit hookworms and parasite eggs everywhere.
Yes.
You also understand why you should always wear shoes, even at night, and especially around latrines.
Yes.
During your antenatal care visits, we may decide to give you a deworming pills to ensure you are as healthy as possible.
Okay.
There are government guidelines to help us with this decision.
That will be helpful.
I'll tell you of another situation where a parasite can pass through skin. And this is with a parasitic disease of schistosomiasis. You have probably heard this called bilharzia or kichocho.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Oh,
this is a parasite that lives in the water or streams or ponds and can pass through our skin when we wade in the water to wash clothes or collect water.
Okay.
The parasite comes from the urine or feces of infected people and gets into the stream when they don't use a latrine.
Okay.
The parasites can cause problems with the liver, bladder, and other organs in the abdomen. Sometimes children who are infected have very large bellies and have blood in the urine.
Oh.
It is a difficult parasite to control in areas where many people wade in streams to wash clothes and collect water, or where irrigation is used. The government may spray streams and lakes to help control the disease. And we can also treat people with medication to eliminate the parasites. Pregnant women in particular should not go into the water and may need to be treated with medicine so they are as healthy as possible.
I will not be going to the streams or lake to collect water anytime soon. And of course, I will keep my family members out of the water as well to keep them safe.
That's a good plan, Fatma.
Yes.
Have you heard of Ebola?
Yes, yes.
This is a deadly disease, and it's caused by a virus that passes through skin as well. But fortunately, Ebola is not a problem in our area.
Oh.
The last thing I can think of is to tell you is about the tetanus vaccination.
Okay.
If you have an injury to your skin, such as a bad cut, burn, or a puncture wound, the skin would have lost some of its protective ability.
Okay.
And microbes could get in through the injured area.
Okay.
So this is how people get tetanus. A serious infection that causes spasms of the muscle in the body. It can be deadly, but it is easily prevented by getting a vaccination for tetanus called the TT vaccination.
Okay.
All adults need this vaccination every 10 years.
Okay.
And pregnant women should be vaccinated with each pregnancy. Generally, 2 doses are given during pregnancy. Let's do your first one today.
Okay.
I think that covers what we need to do together to ensure you are as healthy as possible. You and your baby can also be very, very healthy, and that is very important at this time, Fatma. And so, I will see you for your antenatal care visits, and we work at a prevention because I
know prevention is better than cure.
That's right, Fatma. So next time when you come, we will talk about a healthy start for your newborn child. And 6 months of complete breastfeeding will be a key activity for a healthy start.
That would be great.
Sounds like a plan. I will see you then, Fatma.
Okay, thank you, doctor. It was so helpful, and I will see you soon.
I'll see you, Fatma.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you, doctor.